And I love the way that you try and explain the things that happened in terms of the underpinning science, psychology, and sociology. And you include one here called the sunk cost fallacy. Right. And you know, when you read that chapter in the book, you think, yeah, that's exactly what happened. It's just so obvious when you explain it. Well, what is the sunk cost fallacy?
So it's this whole idea that if you have sacrificed something, that you don't want to make that sacrifice worthless by saying, "Oh, that was a mistake," and so you end up sacrificing more. So the kind of classic example is the old car that you keep spending more and more money on repairs, and you should have just cut your losses and bought a new one. And so that was happening on all sorts of levels with what went through COVID. That once you'd spent X amount of money on PPE, then why don't we spend millions more and then millions on storing it? And you just get caught into these terrible traps of sort of a kind of bureaucratic juggernauts that you sort of set off along the tracks without putting a pause or a brake button on them.
It's just so much what we saw, isn't it? And I'm still seeing, you don't throw good money after bad. If you're digging yourself into a hole, stop digging. It's just obvious things.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most frightening juggernauts in that regard, of course, was with the vaccines. That that at the outset it was, we don't know really what these products are. They're new. It's all we've got. We want to protect the vulnerable. 15 million doses to freedom, and then it was and then the next age group, and the next age group, and the next age group. And so we sort of saw early on, this is heading towards children. They're heading towards children. Why are they heading towards children? And people said, "Don't be ridiculous. They're not talking about children. You're just making it up." And then, of course, they start vaccinating children. And then, of course, we need to protect the children. People were just going along with the whole thing, and they couldn't see their own contradictions in their arguments.
And then the constant need for more and more boosters. It's just quite incredible.
And so actually I was quite relieved to see that news story this week about how much is being disposed of now. Like, they don't no longer trying to dispose of them into people's arms. They're disposing of them somewhere slightly safer now, like incinerators, which still not an ideal way to dispose of things, but